we're currently having a lovely time. We're just showing you some of the game from the wonderful The Ascent, and we put some questions to the wonderful Indents who follow The Ascent Twitter channel. We asked them to send some questions in to ask you guys. Thought we'd share some, and so I thought we'll throw one question at you straight away.
Please do.
It's a good one. Xbox Chief asks, who came up with the idea of the game, and how did it all start? It's quite a good one. It's a good one to start off with, I think.
It's a very complicated one.
Yeah, it was not a little. It was not an amoosh boosh. It was just okay.
I mean,
Ooh, why don't you tell the world?
Yeah, no, it's been. There was never a singular idea that was the Ascent. It's very much a thing that grew, basically from when we started Neon Giant, and what type of game we wanted to make, what type of game we could make as a very, very small indie studio, right? We were only a couple of people back then, so and then as we brought on more team members, and they all brought their ideas and their expertise to the table, the game kind of grew and shaped into what it has become. Basically, it's been a very organic process in that way. It wasn't. We didn't start with like, oh, this is exactly what we're doing. It was very much an organic process.
I think it was the opposite of, the exactly what we want to do. We made sure to start with something that could become anything, because early on we didn't have a full team, so we needed to set up a framework that would be able to take in any one skill set, really. I mean, when we hired an animator, we could have animations. That was kind of a big deal. So now things in the game can move. So we deliberately made it very open-ended with both the world and the gameplay. So at day one of Neon Giant, there wasn't much of an exact pitch, and we couldn't describe the game you're seeing now. It didn't exist.
So we're looking at the game right now. Explain to us a little bit about Cluster 13. What kind of area in the game is this?
It's an area in the slums of the Ascent Group arcology where the game takes place. It's a center point in the habitation stacks where people live. So it's a bit of a meeting place, and there's lots of shops and bars and things like that, restaurants. It's a little bit of a mini city center, which the game kind of revolves around, and some of the characters that are living there.
Yeah, and on the name itself, the reason it's called Cluster 13 is because there are a myriad of these stacks, basically, very tall structures, and they get grouped in together, and you don't really have street names in this world. So this is just a stack of a cluster of said stacks, and this just happens to be number 13, which has its own stack boss, which you might have seen some other videos and things with stack boss Poon. So he's kind of like the governor, if you will, like an underbelly governor of making sure that everything works and everyone's protected.
Right. Well, that's really interesting. The way you say like there's not streets, but there's like stacks. It's really interesting. I've got another question actually from Indents Filthy Rando. Very interesting name. How does a 9, 11? Actually, there's 12 of your team now, isn't there? I believe.
Yeah, we're 12 now. Yeah.
Yeah, only a 12-person team, which is quite remarkable for such a vast game. How does that size team studio make a game that's easily one of the most anticipated Game Pass releases? Basically, they want to know what the dev process is like. I mean, that's probably an interview in itself, but yeah, maybe you could break it down maybe a little bit for them.
Okay.
You get to go.
Thanks.
You get to go first.
I mean, we are a few people, but we're all fairly senior. We've made a lot of games, so we've seen how it's done right, and we've also seen what we wanted to do differently. And we've had this discussion many times. Obviously people ask, but also internally. And I think the two major factors is one, which is kind of cliche, but work smart. And you can only do that. No, but you can only do that after you've made all the mistakes. And I think we're really good at making mistakes. And the other thing is that we have very, very, very little waste. In a larger studio, on a larger game, you would often have things. Oh yeah, we started this and we had to cut this map and this didn't get in, and we were almost done with this. Or we had this, but it didn't really quite feel right. And we have very, very little of that. We've made sure to have a method where we very early say, this is probably not going to work. Okay, get rid of it before we start investing too much time. So we try to, keep our eyes on the prize and really be focused.
And we also, of course, work with really, really talented partners as well. Like it's not just the 12 of us. Like with Neon Giant is 12 people, but we work with great composer, great writers. We have fantastic audio guys helping us out. So we work with people that we trust in their creative work, which helps us a lot. It allows us to work more freely and allows people to flex their creativity a bit more.
And calling in every favor we've amassed.
That's,
it's true.
Yeah, pretty much.
Early days, it was like, hey, remember when we worked on that game together? Do you think you could make us some special effects? That was the first pitch version of the game we made. It's like a friend from the industry helping us out.
So, just a cheeky question. Who do you think who would be the first in your team to die if they were all transported to Velis? Feel free
You're laughing. I think this is horrible.
I mean, not our Arcade. He would thrive in the seedy underbelly of Velis.
I mean, socially, I would do just fine. Depends on their health system, which we haven't really fleshed out yet, because I'm a diabetic, so I might just be screwed from the get-go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's probably Arcade. Unless Arcade can get some shady shipment of insulin.
I'll die first or last.
Okay, well, thank you for your honesty. So, we're looking at some characters within the game. Who's the character that the indent character, the creation, speaking to? The guy with the interesting eyepiece.
Yeah, so that's Poon. That's the stack boss. He runs cluster 13.
Okay.
And he's also your boss.
Oh, so we work for him, basically.
Yeah.
Right. And does he give us tasks?
Yeah. He gives us tasks. He doesn't always give us pay.
Yeah. So you start out as like a very lowly menial worker. You're fixing the sewers in the beginning of the game, and he's your angry boss calling you, wondering why it's coming shit out of his shower.
Well, in indentured life, you've got to start somewhere, right? So, and it's always the bottom. Literally the bottom.
Yeah, quite literally.
Okay, I have another question from Indent. Indent Fuzzy the Bear asks, can you explain the thought process behind getting from the beginning to where the game is sort of now? Yeah, I guess.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fuzzy the Bear.
But sorry, just quick. I think just to rectify that this kind of goes back to what we were saying, that we let it grow based on the people. So it's really trying to bring people's strengths into play with what they really could deliver.
And also just like reacting to reacting a lot to what feels good, like both gameplay wise, like this is fun, we should have more of that, but also just like things we enjoy in the world and things we enjoy creating. We're like, okay, yeah, this is pretty cozy, but we should push it further because this could be really nice. So it's been a lot of very feeling our way, seeing what feels fun to do, what feels what's nice in the world and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like you can see that in the game. I mean, I'm assuming you guys are absolute noodle fans because there's a noodle bar around every corner. That's just my assumption.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the first scene in Blade Runner. You gotta have noodle bars. It's
a staple of everyone's diet. Everyone's got noodle in their cupboard. So
I think this goes back to again us being a small team, because the smaller you are, the more room every individual gets to make a mark, right? So that's why I think you see a lot of personality in the game, because you can see people work like there are people that built entire areas, right? So they're telling their stories instead of trying to get too many cooks. So you can really get a sense for that. And also with us being small, we can be much, much, much more agile and fast to react to, this kind of thing, we like it, or people that play the game like it. So then we can say, let's do more of that instead of having 500 people heading this way. And it's really hard to turn that ship. We can just go, okay, let's do that next week.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we have a lot of indents asking about language support for the Ascent. Do you want to go into that? I know we can. It's available on Steam, I believe.
Yeah. The full list is there. I honestly don't remember all the languages, but it's a bunch of them, and that's full localization on text.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to see if your language is available, just hop to the Steam page. So we're looking at this at the moment. There was a mission called Municipal. I actually missed it. I thought.
Mutual dependencies.
Yes, that was the one.
Municipal dependencies. That's a completely different. Mutual.
Yeah.
I just saw the word fucking.
Not for children.
Not for children.
Except cool kids. Cool kids.
So I've just seen a mission called Gear Up. So I'm guessing that the mission is involving getting gear.
Yeah, that's a side mission, an optional side mission, which we have a whole bunch of.
So No, I was just saying there are main missions and optional missions.
Yeah, exactly. There's optional missions, scattered throughout the world as progress through the game.
So this one in particular is most likely the first one you'll play, and it's half and half a tutorial mission, because the mission is basically make sure you visit all the vendors, maybe buy some new gear, and you get some money to do so. So we introduce you to the concept of different vendors that sell different things, and we give you some money so you can actually buy something. So I would say this is probably the easiest side mission we have.
you get money to buy stuff. Yeah.
Everyone loves money to buy clothes. I mean, it's just a fun thing. There you go. They give you money to make yourself look pretty. Isn't that nice of them? Mr. Orange 303 asks, why is the game so damn beautiful? I mean, because
I tried to stop it, but Tor was on a mission.
So it's Tor's fault. Mr. Orange 303, blame Tor.
It's partially my fault. We have a very, very talented team. They have done an amazing job with it. So it's a team effort. Thankfully, the team is absolutely fantastic. So that's why.
But it's still Tor's fault. If you had to live in one district on Veles, which one would you live in personally?
The Pinnacle.
The Pinnacle.
No, I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say Steamtown.
No, I mean you go down to Steamtown. Even people from the Pinnacle go down to Steamtown because that's where you can have a more of a hedonistic approach. But living, I'll have a quarter set up in the Pinnacle.
That's the nice part.
It's
It's
'cause
at the top.
right, that's where all the cool people live, and then they just visit. Like, you live in the suburbs, but you go to all the cool places. Is that basically? Gotcha. So, at 2 and a Mike 1 asks, what one signature feature would you point out and say, this makes us unique? And it's not your hair arcade, because I mean, we're twinning right now.
Twinning. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be the high-low aim, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that or the covers, but they're kind of the same since they play in tandem. But definitely, because in our game, it's not only aiming 360 degrees and shooting at the thing closest to you. You actually have to keep everything on the screen, well, also outside the screen, but in mind, because you can lift your gun. By that, you can shoot over covers, shoot over tall enemies, or shoot over fallen enemies and stuff. So you can do more of a tactical approach with what you want to take out. And the high shooting also inflicts much more stagger damage. So you have an easier time just keeping people, under control if you don't have enough damage output to kill them immediately. So that you've definitely never seen in a game like this. It gives a completely different second to second and rhythm in the combat.
Okay, so cheeky question from me. What augmentation would you like to have in real life? I mean, like, I'd probably swap between a few of them, but if you had to have one.
I think it's easy, but I'm gonna see if Tor can figure it out.
Record biometrics.
Yes, right answer.
Yeah.
Go on and explain to the people at home.
You save your biological state and you can load it later. That sounds really, really convenient.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I want that one as well.
Yeah.
It's like spray missiles I don't really see a use for. It's like, yay, 4th of July, shoosh! But no, I'll go with record biometrics.
Yeah.
Tor?
Yeah.
That one as well?
That would, yeah.
We all having that
also
one?
Yeah, I don't have much use of, like punching the soul out of people or, making them explode on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, we sure? Okay.
We're short.
Okay. Kevil128 has asked if you could describe something that you're really proud of within the game. And I'm sure you're probably proud of a lot of the game. I'm probably proud of all of the game. Is there a little tiny thing that you're like super proud of?
Does it have to be a tiny thing? Or can it be a really big thing?
Oh, it can be the biggest thing in the world. It could be.
Yeah, I would say I'm.
Dust particle.
The world.
Yeah, that was my pick.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the world. Because it's we work really hard on making a world that feels pretty alive and cohesive, and it's there's a lot of bits involved in making that happen. But we're very happy that it looks and sounds and feels like a place for the most part. So that's I think is the number one thing.
I think overall, because I agreed with everything you said, but we've have had some people play it in early builds, and this is one of the things where people have gotten or given really, really positive feedback and a sense of like real excitement. It's like, oh, I'm really excited to find out more. Oh, this is exciting. This is exciting. It's exciting, and that's really what you want with the world, right? Instead of, oh, the world was great, I understand all of it now. But that there is this sense that it's bigger than you and that there's more to find, and there definitely is, because we have a ton of stuff and lore to read and places to find. So it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Everyone loves a gift that keeps on giving. And one of my favorite things, I was always astounded by the particles in the game, like booming and then particle destructions. It's beautiful, and that's
they are amazing.
Like that. Honestly, it blows people's minds, along with destruction and particles. So that's, if I had to pick something, I would say I love that so much. Yeah.
Yeah, we're really impressed as well.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So, Coffee01 would like to know more about loot, and has asked about enemies dropping loot as well.
Okay, well, so there's a ton of different ways to get loot, so I assume the question is all-encompassing. It's
Yeah,
like, what is
absolutely.
loot? How do you get loot? So one thing that we should make very clear is that everything in our game is handcrafted. Every piece of armor, every weapon, every tactical, every augmentation are handcrafted, with custom art, names and descriptions, and it's done like that because one, we want to author all the content, but also having these handwritten descriptions, basically, it again helps us with the lore. It's like everything is built from a brand, it's used by this or this, and it's used for this or this, and it really helps us build this universe. And then on how you get them, there's several ways. Some of the stuff you can just flat out buy, some you can buy and get from enemies, but then certain enemies drop specific weapons, so it's not a completely random thing where a feral will drop a minigun. No, if you want the minigun, you should probably kill the dude with the minigun, and then he has a drop rate for that. And a lot of the stuff is also placed in world, some in the main path of your main missions, and some of the more offshooty bits. So we really encourage you to explore the world as well. So it's a mix of all the things, but it's handcrafted.
And then some are, some is mission rewards, main missions, side missions. They also have various rewards.
Yeah, side missions usually have something good in the end.
On the topic of loot, what's your favourite name for an in-game item, weapon or augmentation? Because I know there's a lot of good names in there, especially for weapons. So what's your favourite?
I have two favorites. You go first, Tor.
No, I was going to say you go first this time because I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I really like the Boar Shot, a really powerful precision rifle, and I like the Crazy Maker.
I thought you were going to say Big Sword.
Oh, yes! That's also really good. That happened last week or 2 weeks ago or something. That was a piece of equipment that needed a new name, and Big Sword sounds very cyberpunk.
It means pants in Swedish.
Well, it means trousers because she's British.
Yeah.
I like it both ways.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure which my favorite name is really. Maybe the Overwhelmer.
How do you come up with these names? Like, do you sit down and like there's a committee and you think, or like round a table, or is it just like you think there and think, I got a great word, and it's just there?
I mean,
Mostly great words.
Yeah, and then some are silly, like the frag grenade, and then the frag more, and then we have the frag most, which is obviously the biggest grenade.
The frag most.
Yeah, can I change my answer to what I'm the most proud of?
Yeah.
No, but we used a bunch of just aggressive words that we think sounds like weapon. It was like Overwhelmer, Strike Breaker. Yeah, great. I got 2 examples. Help me out. Room Sweeper.
Chrome Punisher.
Yeah, it's just things that sounds like they would hurt.
Yeah. No, I one of
Dread.
my. Go on. I want to hear more.
Yeah. I could just bring up the Excel, but no, please.
There's so many good names. That's why I added this question. Oh dear. Oh, so good. Hang on, I need a drink after that. This is energy drink. This is energy drink, not beer.
This is water, not vodka.
God, I could add vodka to that. Right. Oh, this is a tough name. Hang on. Right. Pedro P. Parajo asks, how will customization work? Because there's lots of, like you say, there's loot and then you can buy bits. Explain a bit how you can make yourself look beefcakey and awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so from the beginning of the game, of course, we have the character creator where you get to pick visuals like the hairstyle and your colors and pigmentation of the skin, like all those things. And on top of that, there are some cosmetic things like shirts and things like that, and skins for your weapons, that kind of stuff, tattoos, that kind of stuff. But then we also have the armor. The different clothes and armor you wear, of course, but then we also have things like as you are equipping in different augmentations, for example, and putting in skill points, you will the better you are at using an augmentation, the more cybernetic your body will be. So we go from being completely completely flesh to gradually getting more and more cybernetic as you get better at using your augmentations. So yeah,
and that's a concept we have in the world as well, that people that go too far or all the way with augmentations are referred to as full chromes. So that's basically what you're getting closer and closer to.
So I have a lot of Indents has asked about co-op and local co-op. So maybe you could explain a little bit more about how that all works.
It's like people playing the same game at the same time.
I mean, yeah, it's basically that, but maybe you can use a few more words. But like, can you play split screen? Can you?
Right.
Can you like? Is it 4-player? Is it 2-player? People really want to play with their friends.
Yeah, exactly. No, split screen I think is the key differentiator between local and online co-op. So we do both. We're big fans of local co-op. We think it's a shame that that's not a thing in more co-op games. So if you play online together, you can play 2, 3, or 4 players together, or single player, 1 player. If you play online, you can just spread out, and as long as you're roughly in the same part of the world, you're good to go and fan out. But when you play local, you share a screen with a camera that zooms out a bit more, because with this kind of game, you really don't want a quarter of a screen. You want the full thing, and it's also easier to keep the team together and be a bit tactical about it.
And also that we have drop in, drop out.
Oh yeah, that's good to know.
And I mean the way the co-op works with the progression as well is that you have your character, but you also have your world progression. So the player that's hosting the game, it's that player's world, and then the people joining will they will level up and they'll find the loot and things, but they are not gonna advance their own world. So,
which is also good if you're playing the game yourself. And a friend wants you to join in. You can do that with your character. You get to keep your stuff in your XP you got from your friend's world, but when you go back, you can continue your story.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good information to know. A few Indents have asked about like if there's character classes and stuff like that. I know you mentioned that you kind of have like, well, you have like augmentations, but is there things like classes?
No, we're completely classless, but that doesn't mean that you can't spec to what a class normally is. So if you want to play as a tank, put your points into health, wear heavy armor, have shield abilities and stuff like that. So you can definitely play as all the classes you would expect. I personally tend to prefer staying in the rear, precision weapons and stuff like that. But you don't choose warrior when you start the game. So it's all depending on what you equip, and you can change that as the game goes as well, because we want to encourage you to experiment a bit and have fun. And again, if you're playing your game and then I ask you, hey, do you want to come into my game? It's like, oh, we're playing similar. Well, then I can just change for a bit. I'll try this now, because now you're here to support that role.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question. I was wondering if did you all get really swole in the making of the Ascent just to like get better reference material for your character models? Because I noticed you're you're.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it on camera, but yeah, thank you.
You're looking. You're both looking pretty good. I was wondering if that's for reference material. Because your characters look. You're
No, it was a prerequisite.
I think I was gonna say it's the opposite. Like we're degrading slowly to fully visualize the feeling of dystopian hopelessness, but I'm not sure.
Confidence at its peak, I hear.
Well, no, I'm just. It was, to be honest, it was a compliment.
No, thank you, and definitely a lot of early discussions were had at the gym.
Yeah.
There's no denying that.
That is true.
And there is a gym brand in the world. Well, there are two. There's one brand for a gym chain, and then there's one for supplement called Muscle Mancer. And there's also a Larkian gym. So there might be things. There are two gyms in the game. There's one in S13 and one in Onyx Void. So there's stuff. There's definitely an interest.
Well, it's working for you, and it's
Also, if you go to the gym goers and you go to the guy who bench presses, for example, you can add plates to his bench press, so you bench press lower.
Very important feature.
Very important.
Was that modelled on you? That guy. Is there any cheeky what they call them? Sort of any cheeky hints or nods to the developers in the game?
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Yeah.
We're big egos, so we're in there.
I knew there would.
Oh.
I mean, your name is a graffiti in the game, Tor.
Yeah, no, it's not my name.
Oh,
Actually.
it's your tag.
Yeah, it's my tag.
Oh yeah. So watch out for Tor's tag. I expect to across the internet and social media. I expect to see screenshots of Tor's tag.
But yeah, we do like to put references in and things in general. So there's like a whole bunch of things in there that hopefully people will find.
Yeah, Easter eggs. That was the word I was looking
Yeah, yeah, we have a bunch of those.
So one of the most popular questions that we were asked was asking about the release date for the Ascent. We were asked it a million times, over and over again, throughout the day, throughout eternity, till the end of time.
Too bad we're out of time.
I know.
And we only have to answer it once.
I know. Never mind. Let's just end the stream now. What's a pleasure.
Okay, do you wanna say, or should you say half and half?
Oh, let's try and figure out how to do this half and half.
Well, I mean, it's got two parts.
Well,
Three parts.
depends on how. Yeah, exactly. Okay, it's in July.
29th. 2021. That didn't work very well. Yeah. So 29th July. That's it.
July 29th.
Yeah, well.
The game is out July 29th.
And they're not lying.
Is that clear?
They're not lying.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, so we'll see. But July 29th.
Yeah.